So you kind of start with the monitor, and you'd like the monitor to be about just right above eye level. And the reason for that is there's a natural drift of your eyes of about 15%. So that way you can see the screen without having to look down, okay? So one, obviously, getting your eyes checked to make sure that you have an appropriate lens and appropriate prescription for where your eyes are now, because they do change over time. And you kind of start there. So once you have the monitor set, the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that the keyboard, there's a 90-degree bend in your arm, and that when you're typing, your wrists aren't like up or they're not low. You want them just below 90 degrees so that when it's a natural kind of position for my hands to be able to type, okay? And then once you get those set, you can kind of raise, lower either the table to get your knees and your legs at 90, and then get your feet, and then you can put either a stool or something on your feet to kind of maintain this kind of 90 here and 90 here, and then you're kind of set up and you kind of start.
So always putting something under the feet to elevate
You
them?
don't have to, but some people, if you're 5'2", that's going to be different if you're 6'3". So you kind of have to play with that, but you want to start with the horizon, which is the top of your, the top of your monitor, and kind of work your way down. And because once you kind of get a fixed position from the top of the monitor to where your keyboard is, then that can move based upon where you are here. And so sometimes it's, if you have a high desk, you might have a foot peg or a foot box to put your feet on, so that your feet is set to a place where your knees are 90. And that's probably the best position. I mean, standing, sitting desk are optimal because you can kind of do both. You just don't want to sit for hours on end. So, if you could do like a little timer once an hour, you get up, kind of walk around a little bit, because again, that mobility is what feeds all the pieces in your body. Specifically, there's more joint position sensors in the spine than any place else. So kind of bending, doing some exercises, touching toes, get some blood flowing, get up, walk around a little bit. Those things all create some mobility and kind of offset the negative aspects of working on a computer. We're just not really built for that in terms of spinally and structurally. We're just adapting to that system. So you can want to do whatever you can to kind of move away from the damage, long-term damage and repetitive damage, that you could see over time. And it's hard to see. If you were a drywaller and you just drove drywall screws all day, every day, there's this understanding like, oh yeah, that can be a problem. But we're doing the same thing, being stagnant by the repetition. So.
What are some movements that we can do potentially?
You can just start with just rolling the head, trying to create some, function in terms of getting that thing rolling. And if you find it kind of kinky, ooh. And again, we're early warning signs, right? Early, becoming more aware of these early warning signs so that we can do something about it before it becomes much of a problem. And you can kind of raise your arms, drop them back down, and create some level of motion. And you can just kind of start at the top with ranges of motion. Can bring your head, all ranges of motion. You can do some with your arms, and then again, you're going to bend. You can bend down to your toes, kind of get that low back moving. And when you want to bend, you want to concentrate on kind of just like segment by segment by segment by segment, and kind of like working your way all the way down, right?
Instead of just going down.
Instead of just going bam, you kind of want to increase some consciousness. It's like you're seeing every piece of the spine kind of bend, because every piece of it has some range of motion. And it's even more important if you've had a surgery or you don't have that level of mobility, to really start working on that, so that at least you're becoming aware of it and slowly kind of creating some movement in those areas.
Thank you.
You're welcome.